All right, well, good morning. Welcome to the September 3rd special meeting. Will someone there please lead the Pledge of Allegiance? Supervisor Gogan, you're right there next to the flag. It seems appropriate.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, flowing into closed session. This is for item 1.1, Government Code Section 54954.5C, Conference with Legal Counsel, Existing Litigation, Number of Cases 1, Trinity Action Association, Inc. versus Trinity of County of Trinity, et al., Trinity County Superior Court.
Recording in progress.
001. I'll be recusing from this item with my cannabis cultivation permit. And Supervisor Frazier will be chairing the meeting, and on a announce public comment, or Supervisor Frazier announces public comment, but I will be leaving the meeting now.
Perfect. If we have any...
Do we have any public comment on our closed session item 1.1?
Can I take my mom stuff?
Yes, hold on 1 second. Let me turn that back on. Sorry.
Perfect, thank you.
So good morning, Board. Leslie Hubbard. I live in Weaverville. So this is a big deal. I'd like to speak to several things, and I'd like to speak to my time since I left my employment with the county. I've had so many conversations with people across the board, people that love cannabis, hate it, illegal growers, legal people, people in the licensing program, small, large, a number of different situations. I've agreed and disagreed with a lot of people. I don't think that I've avoided conversations just because I do disagree with people. I've tried to remain open to any conversation. And the goal of any conversation that I've had has not been, I don't work for the county anymore, and so I can't speak for the county, but I can try to advocate legal cannabis and try to advocate the licensing program, even though I'm no longer involved in it. And the thing that has been at the center of any conversation that I've ever had has been, the scale and the momentum of this. When the county started it, we were already behind right then. The licensing program began when things were already well underway. And to try to catch up with the scale and the momentum of it has been really, really difficult. So any of the efforts that staff or the county as a whole has made have been really, really difficult. Logistically, it's been very difficult to catch up with that. The order, as a result of the hearing last week, is it's heavy. That is going to be a hard thing to process. It is what it is. At this point, the best bet, having staff get involved in a really aggressive and very efficient and strategic evaluation, as many sites as you can get in as quickly as you can, legitimately, with a good evaluation, is going to have to be the way that you go. But hopefully in the process, my request to the board would be that you revisit the guiding principles, because I don't think they're really applicable to the program anymore. Revisit the guiding principles and try to define success for the program so staff has something to go by. There's not a kill switch on it. You just keep on going without really knowing where are we being successful, when are we being successful, and when are we not. And without that definition of success for staff and for people that are in the licensing program and for people that are looking at it with, maybe they have distaste for the program, or they hate it, or they're thinking, okay, maybe this is going to be okay. Some firm numbers in there for performance standards would really be helpful to everybody. If anybody ever has any questions about any of the conversations I've had, I'm happy to pass those on.
Thank you.
Good morning, Liz McIntosh, Junction City. I'm hoping this is open public comment, right? Okay, all right, because I'm not talking about what's on your thing today.
Oh, no, this is just
No?
comment for the item. We don't have,
No open public comment today?
No, it's a special meeting.
Okay, all right, I wasn't quite clear, so I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
You can go ahead and email it.
okay, thank you. Is there any other comments on this item from within the room?
Do we have to speak now, or can we wait till after some of the Zoom folks go?
Do we have anyone on Zoom?
Yes, we have a few.
Okay.
Thanks.
Let's go to Judy Nelson.
Good morning. My name is Judy Nelson. I have a farm with my husband Walter on South Fork Road in Salyer. I just wanted to express concern for my business, concern for the viability of the program in the county, and just let you know that, so we employ 3 full-time employees. We have several seasonal employees that we, are paying wages to, as well as supporting ourselves through our farm. We hold 2 different third-party certifications for environmental sustainability. We're known throughout the state as, possibly the most environmentally sustainable brand in the state of California. And we feel that, all of our efforts to this have been to really represent Trinity County to the state as a quality cannabis producing region that we're known for, right? And it's been challenging with the disorganization of the program, with dealing with the uncertainty from this lawsuit. And, we're one of the very few farms in Trinity County that has branded packaged products on store shelves throughout the state. And that means that in addition to the investment of just permitting the farm, we have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars over the past 3 years into creating this brand that is known throughout the state. And if we are unable to continue all of the work that we have done to get ourselves onto these store shelves, if we just disappear for some period of time, of a year, 3 years, however long it takes to get this sorted out, all of what we put into the branding alone will just be wasted a lot through absolutely no fault of our own. And I just want you all to be aware of, how this will affect us, and I hope that there is some way to make it, at the very least, that we can get through until the end of this calendar year to be able to get our products into the market, and that we find some very rapid way to continue to allow us to operate, whether that's under state supervision, whether the county is able to get something together. But please, 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 I know you guys know all of this already, but I just want it on the forefront of your mind as you go into this discussion. So thank you very much, and hopefully this is going to work out so that we can all continue to run our businesses. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have Adrian Keys.
Good morning, Board Chair Frazier, or Vice Chair Frazier. Adrian Keys from Hayfork. I also am a licensed cultivator, number 15 in the county. I've been in this program since the very beginning, attended all the meetings leading up to it, all the state regulatory meetings promulgating the regulation. It's been a pushing 7-year investment in just that aspect of it. And, I think that Judy covered adequately the economic impacts to any of us as farmers. It's just outstanding. And all the previous assumptions about, how much money we make and all of that, well, we're in a super competitive marketplace. It's a lot harder than just growing a plant, putting it out into the market to make a living out of this. It's a challenge, but I really want to spend a little time considering the impacts that affect the county at large, and not just the cultivators. Without active farms next year, we will not have access to the grant money that it could be coming our way to help with the environmental compliance review. That Governor Newsom allocated $100 million, $3.5 million of it for Trinity County to perform environmental review, but those farms have to be in existence. They have to be permitted to get that money. And it can't just be 4 or 5 of them. It has to be a lot of them. That's the number, the $3.5 million or whatever it is based on the fact that we have several hundred provisional licenses in the county. The state's willing to step up and help us get them processed, but we have to be in existence. Then there's also environmental improvement grant money from the Department of Fish and Wildlife. And to be clear, all of this money, all these grant monies come through the cannabis program. They come through taxes, fees, and fines at the state level. We pay significant level of state tax, and I think that the county deserves that money back. We are in the development or the application process for a grant out here in Becker Valley that I think somebody else on the call may be able to cover better than I, to tune up this road system that's been neglected since long before the Green Rush. Since it's a typical Trinity County situation where this road got punched in. It's a subdivision. There's all these folks out here, but nobody even has taken the time to donate money to the road association that we've tried to form out here. Unfortunately, over the course of many years. And so we have an opportunity to fix this road and many other roads throughout the state or the county. They've also just released, DFW once again, just released an application process for grant money from the cannabis program for increased water storage. So all the things that, there's dust and there's water, two of the main concerns that people have about the program, and we have opportunities to fix those things from a legacy perspective, but not if we don't have actively licensed farms in the county. Thank you, that's it for me.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have Patrick Cahan.
Yeah, hi, this is Patrick Kahn from Sawyer. I have a licensed farm down here, and I just wanted to reiterate that this is sort of one of those death blow moments. There's been quite a few along this process. I've been in this program since the very beginning, and I just really wanted to reiterate how important it is for you guys to put some faces and some actual county residents and some feeling behind the impacts that this has. I'm deeply saddened at the order and the idea that the county is pushing itself into state politics at what I see as a detriment to our program that's brought so much positivity to this county, and I think there's so much more to give. And so I really hope that you guys will look at the financial impacts that you're having on these farms, these businesses in your community. I never thought that I'd be on this call. Last week we finally got a bank account, and I always thought that would be one of the hardest things to get, and it was extremely difficult. And I never thought that I'd slip from an annual license with the state back to not having a permit currently, just having, something that is about to expire. And so it's really important that you guys put a little bit of politics aside and look at what has been created on our watch and how much community input has gone in. And I hope you will consider the ramifications. And I really want to say thank you to the staff. Kim and Leslie, I've worked with them extensively, and I feel for them, and I really hope that they understand that they have been scapegoated by not having enough help and enough backing. And so I hope the supervisors will take a more active role now that we don't have the support of some of the things that Keith brought to the table before with the ad hoc group. We're going to need all the help on deck after this order, or this court order, and I really hope that you guys are all to task and that you will help us through this. I also want to say thanks to Josh and Will, who greeted me on the South Fork Road today, because I've been in evacuation. They're our local county sheriffs. So who would have thought a medical cannabis grower would be going up and saying hi and getting to know our local sheriffs and having bank accounts and paying taxes, and would be being shut down by a lawsuit, and that's the one thing I haven't hired yet, and I don't want to, and that's a lawyer, You know, I've hired so many consultants, I've worked so closely with staff and the local cannabis community, and it's just a shame to think that this could all just go to lawyers. So I hope that that you guys will take us into consideration moving forward. Thank you, Trinity County.
Thank you.
Hope your fires go out in peace.
Okay, next we have Marie Peterson.
Hi, this is Marie Peterson from Weaverville. I've lived in Trinity County, most of my life and worked on environmental projects since 2011. And I just wanted to talk a little bit today about the importance of the program, both economically and environmentally. Licensed cannabis farms provide thousands of jobs for our community and help feed thousands of families, and also help fund code enforcement, as well as we'll be providing tax revenues for the county in the future. And environmentally, I really wanted to focus on the progress that we've made on the transition plan and secret compliance, and commend Kim and everyone who's worked together on helping get the program farther along and come into compliance with CEQA. But specifically, what's been on my mind a lot is Becker Valley and the state of the roads out there. For years I watched, with Josh Smith from the Watershed Center, I watched the sediment bleed into the creeks when big storms were happening, and we worked with Jim Fitzgerald, GeoServe Engineering, and went out there years ago and started to develop road plans and look at the crossings to try to fix that. And just recently, in May, we were able to work as a team to put in a grant for $350,000 worth of road work and road improvements in Becker Valley to get through the permitting process and the CEQA process next year, so that work would be able to be implemented hopefully the following year, and those problems would start to get fixed. The only thing that makes that road system eligible for the funding that we applied for is the fact that there are licensed farmers down that road, because California Department of Fish and Wildlife released that request for proposals for licensed farms and cannabis remediation projects. And it's really, in the past few weeks, I've been shown how incredibly important that is, not just for, the commercial farms down there, but just for the community as a whole, because with these wildfires raging, I've been terrified that my friends and family would not even be able to get out of that road system in time to save their lives when it came down to it. So we really, really need this to be able to go through. And I am hopeful that with the leadership that we have, that we will in the future have a strong program and a strong economy going forward. And I know it's a hard decision today, but thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, Carla Avila.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Thank you. Hello, this is Carla Avila from High on Palm. I've been going back and forth over what to say today. It's been a long road, and I find it incomprehensible that in the name of the environment, we bring the pathway to compliance to a grinding halt, that in the remedies sought is only compensation and remuneration for attorney's fees and court costs. These come on the back and on the dollar of every citizen of this county. The obstruction to the ability to solve the problems they claim to be concerned with, all in the name of the environment. I am an environmentalist. I have a rainwater catchment system. I store every ounce of water that I use the entire growing season. I have never disturbed ground outside of a pre-existing garden. These are legacy cannabis sites. The whole point of Prop 64 was to bring us into compliance, including into compliance with CEQA. And the timelines that I have seen mandated in this in this settlement agreement the entire time have been completely unreasonable for CEQA, much less in this situation that we're in. Standing up a program of this magnitude, especially for a jurisdiction with our limited resources and population, is indeed a feat. Here we are nearly at the summit, or perhaps there, perhaps we've reached it, I hope, because after this court case comes to a close, I want this to be the point where we realize it's all downhill from here in a good way. It's hard on the knees, but it makes it easier to go faster. You must be swift, for there is no time left but now. You must be prudent, for we cannot err, and we must be held accountable for our actions and inactions. There is no room for anything but being absolutely practical, efficient, and nimble. If we don't get up and water it every day, nurture it every day, tend to it every day, it does not survive or thrive. You must be like a farmer every day. And in this way, we shall forge ahead. We, the licensed cannabis industry of Trinity County, are committed to seeing this through. We know you are too, so today I hope we begin to look ahead and finally stop reliving the past. 2019 is long come and gone. We've had this hanging over us for far too long. The American Revolution, our country's war for independence, lasted 6 years. That's how long I have been in this program. This verdict coming down all over our heads today is unfair, but we have to look to the future right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have P. Lai.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, my name is Patricia Lai. My aunt owns property in Junction City, and I represent 2 licensed cultivators in Trinity County, in Van Dusen and Mad River. I'm also a member of the Trinity Agricultural Lyons, and I want to voice my support for Carla Avila and the Trinity County Agricultural Lyons and all Trinity County cannabis growers. As an environmental engineer and consultant myself, I work in all 3 counties, Humboldt, Trinity, and Mendocino. I'm a first generation American and a 3rd generation Chinese engineer, and we need to forge an equitable and humanitarian and environmental pathway forward. And I just want to iterate on behalf of the people, the families that I represent in Trinity County, including my own family, to please honor the struggle and help the industry move forward. For the veterans and the survivors of the war on drugs, those who spent jail time, those who died, those direct and indirect impacts of illegal cannabis prior to 2016, we are the 3 last counties that have held the world legacy. This is the cradle of the modern cannabis industry, and we need to remember and honor in our policies moving forward that, and this is the most highly regulated in an environmental sense industry in the state of California, to the point where we can't even consider it agriculture at all, to the degree that it is under scrutiny and under a microscope. So I just hope that as a community, we can come together and as policymakers and government, take a time out and take a breath and find some solutions that can help us move forward and level and lift onto a new and brighter future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Ryan Tarbell.
Good afternoon, Supervisors. Ryan Tarbell, Hayfork, licensed cultivator since the beginning of the program in 2016. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you, Supervisors, County Council, and County staff for all your support and efforts during these negotiations to enable cultivators to harvest, process, and sell this year's product. if we were unable to do so, it would be a complete economic disaster for the licensed farms, and it would put hundreds of small businesses within the county out of business. Secondly, I would strongly urge you today to do everything in your power to avoid continued oversight by TAA over the county planning department. This case has reached a final decision and is complete. I think you stand strongly to try and negotiate that out of the current contract. And lastly, if cultivators cannot cultivate next year, many of us will be lost from the program, which will significantly reduce code enforcement funds, which solely come from cannabis licensing fees currently. You'll lose significant tax revenue from Measure G, and the economic stability within the county will be greatly reduced. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of small businesses. So, considering these facts, I really strongly urge the board to do everything possible to streamline the transition plan in environmental review and to get as many licensees through this process by next growing season. Thank you very much.
Okay, next we have Deidre Brower.
Good morning, board. Thanks for having this meeting, I guess. Well, there's been a lot of really good speakers this morning, and this is a really awful situation that we're in. I think they've all expressed that really clearly. All of our farmers are fighting literal fire, figurative fire, and I'm just asking you as board to please throw everything you've got behind this to help these many businesses succeed. It isn't just these businesses that it affects, it really does, affect the entire community. So please put all of your resources out there and be creative and be leaders and be swift and efficient and do everything you can to help this. Thank you.
Okay, that's everyone I have on Zoom. Go back to the boardroom.
Hi, Steve Lyons, Junction City. My wife and I have a licensed farm in Junction City. I'm a Marine Corps infantry vet. I got kids in several schools, 2 boys on the high school football team. Go Wolves. Like everybody else, I'm pretty disappointed about the outcome of the TAA lawsuit. This completely upends my business plans. I understand, I know that was the intent. It was never about environmental concerns, as everybody's been talking about. Those concerns are well addressed by Water Board, Fish and Game, all these other permits we have to have, CDFA before they switched. This has always just been a tool, a weapon to stop the program, to stop the few hundred licensed cultivators, not really do anything about the thousands of black market operators. Basically punish those of us who came forward to do it right. Like the law allows, state law allows, we follow the county laws. Man, I've got 7 or 8 different agencies that I get permits and certificates from that I have to maintain on a yearly basis. Like everybody else, I also want to remind everyone today that these are businesses. I have employees, taxes, payrolls, responsibilities, loans, mortgage. There's more licensed cultivator businesses than are businesses on Main Street. Even with the 230 still left, that's got to be at least more than double what's on Main Street. And these are shutting us down. I really appreciate the willingness of most of the board. You guys have really been reasonable the past year or so. You've given us some reasonable regulations and you've tried to help us operate. I know this lawsuit has been a lot. It's not the board it hasn't had a lot of responsibility as far as the lawsuit goes. Y'all have really tried to just let us operate our businesses, and I appreciate it. I've seen it. And now's the time for us to move forward. The lawsuit's over today or soon, I guess. Like Ryan mentioned, I hope that we strongly do not allow the TAA to continue this basically extortion. Getting the planning department up and running on processing CEQA reviews is the paramount solution right now. That has to happen. In the meantime, if there's anything that can be done to help protect our businesses, a lot of us are ready to harvest. It's not like we get our product to market as soon as we chop the plants down. It takes months. Sometimes you wait for prices to change so you maximize your time on the market. I don't know how that's going to work. I have no idea what my future holds. You know, I've been ready for CEQA review for years. I haven't changed anything. I haven't expanded. I can't even build a new dry shed. You know, there's things I want to do to improve my business, but I've been frozen. One possible solution is a temporary revert to state option that can be sunsetted that would allow us to keep our state licenses while we wait for CEQA review. It is an option, and it could be sunsetted. And thank you guys. I appreciate your time and for working on this.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the room? Okay. Telos Farm?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yep.
Great. My name is Matt Hawkins. I live in Weaverville. I own 3 licensed cannabis farms here in Trinity County. I employ 11 people. And yeah, I just want to reiterate pretty much what everyone else has been saying, and please help us. We need help right now. The county has to figure out this CEQA thing. I know this court order is going to make it difficult to do that, but I don't want to lose my businesses. I don't want to tell my employees they don't have a job next year. I had 2 farms last year, and we put over 2,000 pounds of legal cannabis onto the market last year, generating several $100,000 in cultivation taxes, never mind the excise tax and local tax when it got sold on retail. And I feel like I'm a contributing member to this county, and I don't want to have to move my businesses. That's going to be difficult and time intensive and labor intensive and extremely costly. I have 2 children, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. I want them to go to school here. I want them to go to high school here. I want to raise them here. But without a legal way for me to make a living, I'm going to have to leave. And I don't want to see that happen. I don't think most people in this county would like to see that happen, but that's where we're at. So please do everything that you possibly can to get this figured out. And like a few other people said, I'm ready. I haven't changed anything. I've had a drying shed sitting at the bottom of my driveway for over a year now that I can't put up because I'm trying to stay compliant. So just realize what a hardship this is going to be for all illegal farmers, and we ask that you just do everything in your power to help us out here. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I have no other chats and no other raised, oh, I have one more raised hand. John Brower.
Good morning, Supervisors. I want to thank you all for jumping in and taking this matter seriously and getting attention, especially in more recent times. This is, absolutely the top priority for the county, and I also want to encourage you to, you're the Board of Supervisors, and your purpose is to supervise the county staff as they provide services for the citizens. So I also want to ask you to please take that supervisory role to heart. And this is a tremendously heavy lift for any county or city or lead agency to perform the CEQA task on such a tremendous scale and in such short time. So I want to encourage you to somehow prioritize your supervising of the implementation of this transition plan in a very, very hands-on way. Perhaps an ad hoc committee of supervisors or some means of of helping steer and implement this thing and really ensure that it remains a top priority. And that means really, this really needs to happen now. It's been put off for years and years. But we do have an EIR, and it is certified. We have updated the ordinance, and now's the time to implement it. So thank you for your consideration. And I am also supportive of the current draft language for the court order, and I hope you support it too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I have no other raised hands and no other chats.
All right, with that, we will close public comment and move into closed session.
Thank you, guys.